Okay, hello, Tim. Sound out.
Sounds good now.
Cool. All right, I think it was the streaming on Discord as well. You're sounding great to me too. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we're streaming now on YouTube Live, it seems. Cool. Look at that. Here we are. All right, so for anyone listening now, thank you for joining us, and we will begin shortly. Today,
Just looking over a couple more things.
copy that. Okay. Oh, Pepe Wah. Cool. Okay, cool. All right, I'm glad you guys can hear me. Thank you for joining, Pepe Wah. Evan, thanks for joining too. From a smaller town outside of Toronto. Ooh, I love Canada. I've always wanted to go check it out there in the past decade. I haven't had a chance to, but I've been interested in doing so. I checked out Ontario actually with my family when I was very young. My parents are like avid ski fans, so they were excited to take me out there, but I don't remember too much of it. That's cool though. Hey Josh, thanks for joining. Welcome. Aquarium, yo, back to you too. DJ Love, Canada things. They say we're in lockdown, but most stores and businesses are still running. Interesting. Well, I hope it sounds like the pandemic's doing a bit better there, so I'm glad to hear that. Right, we have a new microphone set up in today too for me, so hopefully we'll be sounding a bit better than last time I went live streaming here. And Pepe Wa, cool. Type in Japanese. That's solid. Genki desu ka. Fantastic. Okay. Right. Chat. All right, Brandon, how you feeling?
Pretty good, man.
Cool. All right. I'm gonna get this going then. So thank you all so much for joining us. This is season 1, episode 7 of the Travel Japan with Wes Mathur Podcast. A podcast where, as you may know, we discuss what it is like to work in Japan, live in Japan, or travel in Japan. And today we're going to be covering the topic of public transportation and housing in Japan. Whether you're coming here to live or to travel, the best ways to get around and the best ways to find comfortable and accommodating and cost-effective accommodations, and the pros and cons of some of the options I've been able to experience myself. Joining us today is our co-host, Brandon Bates. And how are you doing today, Brandon?
Pretty good, Wes. Pretty good.
Glad to hear it.
Definitely been a run for me today. As you know, yeah. I discussed with you earlier, I'm making money on cryptocurrencies right now, so that's fun.
Here we go. That sounds fun. It's a level of fun I wish I could be partaking in myself. However, not in the cards today. And as in many of our other episodes, we are going to begin today's show with a news segment covering a couple current topics in Japanese news. I'm gonna jump into it with a question with a topic I've gotten actually quite a few questions on in other live streams, and that is Super Nintendo World, which is being opened up by Universal Studios Osaka. However, as many people are surely aware of, due to the pandemic, many theme parks are not having the best of years, I guess now, or in 2020, 2021. So to combat that, because they have put in so much work and effort and years into developing Super Nintendo World, they are opening it up to be a virtual tour, virtual tours of the Super Nintendo World. So that is something you can do online. We'll maybe put a link to that on the Twitter or on the Discord, so you can all check it out. And that is basically, from the perspective of a tourist of Universal Studios Nintendo World, you can explore the town that they've set up for everybody. And the photos here look fantastic. I think it should be a mix of like nostalgia and excitement for any fans of the Nintendo or the Mario series. And it's kind of funny to think that they're taking something virtual and then making it into a reality in USJ, Universal Studios Japan, and then they're making it back into a virtual thing. But it seems to have translated pretty well. And that even includes checking out all the foods you can eat, the kappa shell, curry buns, and some Yoshi-themed mint slushies, which look delicious.
Man, I'm just saying, any business that can capitalize off of Nintendo is always going to do it. As long as Disney profits from Disney products, I know Japan can Or yeah, Japan will
Yeah,
always profit from Nintendo, man. Because
to that.
so I really want to go. It looks so dope.
Oh, yeah, right back at you. No joke, though. Watch there be a Nintendo streaming service in the next couple of years. Nintendo Plus. I wouldn't doubt it. I'd probably pay for it, to be quite honest. Nintendo themed TV shows. Why not? Maybe I should pitch that idea to them so they can hire me. Shh, don't tell them. Anyway, so that basically covers that. Fantastic ways that companies are getting around the pandemic so people can be entertained safely, because pandemic, being quarantined, has definitely a mental toll on so many people, and entertainment is a great way to combat that. So I think that basically wraps it up for our first topic. And by the way, for anyone listening, if y'all can't hear me so well or anything like that, or there are any technical difficulties, please
Definitely hit us up in the comments. Yeah. Definitely let us know in the comments, because this is still kind of beta how we're doing these streams, and we're learning as we go. We're everything we've done for the last month. We've just been learning as we go. So
yeah, there we go.
But yeah, we'd appreciate it.
Yeah, 100%. All right, Brendan, what do you got for us next on Japan news?
Let's see here. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and share the screen so everyone else can see it as well.
Oh, very cool.
So, we're going to be discussing the top 100 manga of all time were chosen by a survey of 150,000 people. Japanese people, naturally.
Yeah.
But it is kind of obvious, in my opinion, what the option or what the winners were. But I'm kind of sad that my top number one manga of all time is not in it.
Oh yeah. Oh no.
But yeah, they definitely just kind of had an idea from like what general top 5 or top 100 manga were released of all time, and a poll was put together. It was done in January, so this month, and it was done in 2 different parts, but looks like number 5 was Dragon Ball. Naturally, that's going to always be in the top 5. It's kind of funny that Dragon Ball has just blown up the way that it did over the years, because I don't know, it just keeps getting better and better and better, and they're still pumping out movies, and it's still better every time they come out with a new one. And I think it's funny that Dragon Ball has a lot of inspiration from the movie Akira, which we watched during during our Discord anime night one time. If you watch Akira and you see all of those super power vibes, you get a lot of Dragon Ball involved. But it looks like Detective Conan was number 4 on that top 5 list, and Detective Conan is absolutely hilarious in my opinion, and a lot of people do dubs on that anime series on YouTube, which makes it even funnier.
I've seen those.
Just a heads up. But yeah, we got Slam Dunk as well for number 3. I personally haven't seen or read anything from Slam Dunk, but I also don't know what the manga culture is in Japan. I know what the manga culture is in America, and so it wouldn't surprise me that I wouldn't know what some of these are, because I didn't grow up reading the manga that were interesting to people in Japan. I grew up reading manga that people were interested in America.
Yeah.
But we've got Demon Slayer. Obviously, that's a great one. That's a wonderful one. And as you know, anything that's going to be in these top 5, if not the whole top 100 list, I guarantee there's an anime for it now too. If you're someone who doesn't want to invest or read manga, which I prefer manga, much more in-depth story, just like reading any other book compared to watching a movie. And then number 1, we're going to go with One Piece. Let's get the outrageous long series of One Piece out of the way, because I don't know how they're still coming out with episodes for that, but it's been going on for it's like a 2-decade run, man. They just keep pumping out episodes of One Piece all the time. But as you can see, the top 100 list is right here. If you didn't get to see anything that was in your top 10, if or it's more than likely on this list, because the one I was hoping they'd pull up was Full Metal Alchemist, but it made number 9.
Number 9.
Made number 9. As you can see, I'm a big Full Metal Alchemist fan. Got all the manga right here.
Yes,
so,
look at that. Support that fully. I never read the manga. I gotta check it out.
It's a lot more like Brotherhood series, like Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, than just Full Metal Alchemist anime. So if you like Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, you'll love the manga series. It's way better.
I'm gonna jump on that then. Yeah.
But yeah, they got the whole top 100 list here, and that's that. We can post the link in the description after the podcast, or after the stream is done. We can also post it on our Discord channel or server if you guys wanted to take a look at these top 100 if you're interested. So yeah, fun stuff here.
150,000 Japanese people. So if you are looking for anything, just manga recommendations, I think this would be some good ones. Haikyuu's definitely on here. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I see some titles I've never heard of too, like Touch and Phoenix. Banana Fish is on here. I know that one. So I'm gonna be checking some of these out too.
Yeah, if it's good enough to be in the top 100 for native Japanese people, it's got to be good for us too, right?
I feel you. And it is interesting how you touched upon, like, the culture for reading manga is, I think, fairly different here than in the States. And part of that, so Slam Dunk is, I was in a basketball club in university, nothing like serious, but kind of pickup games with friends. And a lot of them asked if I had read Slam Dunk, or said that Slam Dunk was a favorite anime or a manga of theirs. But it being older, I think it was more prevalent in a time where manga and anime was definitely not being marketed almost at all, probably in America. So I think that could be a difference for some of these, just the marketing tactics. Some anime definitely in decades past could be marketed solely in Japan. However, whatever teams or companies market manga and anime in the States, or in English actually, may not have picked them up, or may not have thought they were as marketable to an American audience.
What's kind of crazy is a group of friends and I, when I was in high school, which was over 10 years ago now. 10 years ago, manga was like still in no way popular thing in America, but somehow me and a small group of my friends, primarily my friend Cameron, was able to push the school to allow us to have a manga club in our school.
Oh, heck yeah.
So that was kind of cool. Our school kind of was progressive enough to allow us to have a manga club. And we also started a Go club, which was really cool too. So we got to play Go and read manga.
That's so cool. Thanks for taking initiative out there. I'll join. I'm all about a manga club.
Yeah, so if you're here in America and you don't have a manga club in your high school, make it happen. Just do it. Just bug your principal enough. They'll let you have it. I guarantee it.
I feel that. Tony P. FMA is amazing. I wholeheartedly agree. And yeah, so that's a pretty solid segment on manga. It's cool that people are still, or things in manga are still making the news. Let's jump on to our next segment of news. Anything else you have to add on that, Brendan?
Nope, that's it. That's all I got for manga.
All right. Yeah. Our last segment of news we pulled up is just pretty, I think, fun and has historical ties. So firefighters in Japan, the Tokyo Firefighter Department has demonstrated how people fought fires in the Edo period. Actually, for a lot of Japanese history, it was fought in very interesting ways. And they have these demonstrations where they use traditional bamboo ladders that were kind of like erected on the spot really quickly. And then firefighters dressed in traditional Edo period clothing, sometimes called a hapi, would climb up these things like really fast. And in the photos, they're like somersaulting down and somersaulting up and things like that. And just ways to really quickly climb multiple story buildings in the past, before the time of fire trucks, where they would be able to hoist water up to second story fires and get people and belongings out of these burning buildings. And it's just a really cool demonstration. It's really awesome how they went all out with the costumes, and dang, the physical capability you probably have to do to be able to climb these ladders and somersault down them, and buckets of water up of them are fantastic.
It's acrobatic, man.
Yeah.
It's like something out of a circus in America. It's so
the
much
amount of
discipline.
training. Edo period firefighters in Japan probably had to go to. Yeah, no joke. Yeah, performing acrobatic stunts on top of bamboo ladders. And this was a New Year's celebration event as well too.
Mm.
It's
Yeah,
interesting.
you have to think of like how fast and punctual you'd have to be as a firefighter of that time period.
Yeah.
Everything, all the houses were made of thin wood and paper, pretty much. Things would just light up into flames with
Right.
so quickly. It'd be so hard for firefighters back then with the lack of the technology we have now today for firefighters. But also, wow, man, yeah, seeing them
Yeah.
climbing these what is that, bamboo ladders, and
Yeah.
they're flying up those things like
Right.
they're walking on air. It's
Yeah.
cool. It's really cool, man.
Right.
They got to be
No
carrying
joke.
water with them too.
The fact that modern day firefighters can somehow do this, I don't know how much training they went through, but yeah, it's impressive too. The skill is called Jozo Meshiki, and the Edo period, for anyone listening, took place from around 400 years ago, began around 400 years ago, and ended around 200 years ago, from 1603 to 1867. So that is how fires were fought in Japan historically. Very interesting. And again, these photos are interesting. We'll have links to these on Twitter as well as in the Discord server.
Right. Well, did you want to? This was the last one on our segment, right? This
Yeah,
news article?
correct. That's all I got. Mhm.
Gotcha. All right. Did anyone else have any comments about any of these subjects? By the way, if you want to look at the comments for a second,
Yeah,
let's see here.
Acha got some anime Full Metal Alchemist love right here. Very cool. In One Piece, 1,000 chapters now. That's insane.
1,000 chapters. Wow.
I'm gonna one
I
day
knew
read
I knew it was up there. I knew One Piece was flying like still high. Everyone's still watching that. I
right?
can't believe they're still coming out with episodes.
Yeah. Demon Slayer is a champion for making it up there, like being the most recent one, I think. The most recent, shortest show to be up there. So points in the top 5.
I
Kind
know.
of stands out. Conan has tons of books as well. I have a friend that's obsessed with that. There's like a Conan museum in Tokyo and everything. It's really cool. Anyway, so
Good night from Switzerland. Well, thank you, Serena.
right? It's so cool. I'm
Good
feeling so
night to
global
you.
now. Very awesome. We have at least 3 different countries hopping on in this live, so that's very exciting. Anyway, oh yeah, and then Brandon, thanks again for sharing the screen up there for seeing the fire.
Oh, yeah.
Those firefighter things. That's inspiring. I want to do some kind of acrobatic working out, some exercises. Wishful thinking. Anyway, so
New Year's
that
resolution, maybe?
could be, right? I'm inspired. And that does wrap up our news segment for episode 7 in season 1 of the Travel Japan with Wes Mathur podcast. And we are now going to get into our main topic of this segment, which is transportation and housing in Japan. So I've been here probably around 4 years altogether, back and forth with from here to Los Angeles, sometimes working, sometimes a student, and then traveling here a couple times as well. So I'm going to cover basically with some research and my experience what I think are the pros and cons of what public transportation is. And the first thing I'm going to talk about trains, buses, and taxis, as well as bicycles. The first thing I'm going to touch upon is definitely trains being the most prevalent, as well as most likely the first mode of public transportation you're going to hop on out of the airport. And I talk about this a bit in other episodes, but I think it's a very great resource in Japan, basically not to be shy of, to approach, and because they can take you anywhere and they're very convenient, and there's so many systems set in place to help travelers that don't speak any Japanese to get exactly where they want to go for the cheapest price. And the main thing that is tricky for me is the companies that trains are separated into, and some of this kind of does lead to some strange transfers. The main company that does trains in Japan is JR, and they have the Shinkansens, which are the bullet trains that span across Japan and can get you, can turn a 6-hour drive or a 10-hour bus ride into a 2-hour train ride from Osaka to Tokyo. They are expensive, as they are packing a lot of tech in there, but that is a great way to get across Japan, and that is also under the JR company. Other companies that are prevalent would be the Keion company, and the Kinki Tokyo company. I know that sounds strange that I say it like that, but Yes, those are two other ones I recommend. And main tool I use traveling through trains in Japan, trains being probably the mode of transportation I recommend most, would be Google Maps. Google Maps has great information and great routes that have always been accurate as far as I've seen in transferring and getting any place throughout Japan that I've needed to go. And that's an app that I'm sure many people use in the States or in your home country as well.
Oh yeah, Japanese train systems are super punctual and on time too, compared to
Yes.
any other country you go to and try to use their
Yeah.
train systems. They're so punctual. So
No, it's true.
I can only imagine Google says it'll be here at this time, and you'll be at point B at this time. It'll probably more than likely be on point.
Yeah, like clockwork. And then
Yeah.
if they're a minute off schedule, they'll apologize over like the loudspeaker for being like,
It's just because they couldn't shove enough people in.
Yeah, no, that could be the case too. Rush hour on the train. Yeah, so if you couldn't tell, I'm definitely a fan of riding the trains. I think they're convenient, but aside from that, I find them fairly aesthetically pleasing. I love looking out the window. Yeah, no, right? Just a marvel of human industry.
You living in Japan as well, you have the opportunity to ride bullet trains, which 200 kilometers an hour flying across the countrysides of Japan.
Yeah.
Something you don't get an opportunity to use bullet trains anywhere else. Really, it's only Japan that really has them, and it's crazy that they've had that infrastructure since the mid 1960s, and we still don't have that in America.
Right.
Could you imagine going from New York to California on a bullet train and
that'd be so
the
cool.
difference?
That'd be a day journey. That'd be really cool.
I wish we had that kind of infrastructure here. It'd be great.
I'd just be able to do so much domestic travel in the States and see so many of the wonderful states. That'd be pretty cool. One day.
Yeah. One day, not in our lifetime.
Yeah. Japan is the JRL company in Japan is actually testing a train that is faster than the Shinkansen bullet train now, which uses magnets. Yeah, which uses magnets, so the train doesn't have to touch the track, as well as a vacuum that kind of like vacuums the train through. I mean, at some point, I feel like it's just not going to be healthy for my body to travel that fast through space, but I'm excited to ride it. I saw the test of it in Yamanashi. Basically, it's like a little event. You pay like $5. You can go get snacks and food, and then every 30 minutes it'll shoot by, and you can watch how fast it goes. It's crazy. It literally blew the hat off of my head, just being within like proximity of it.
Josh Bassford asked in the comments, "Are there train passes?" Yes, there are.
Yeah, exactly. That's another thing I did when I get to next. So perfect timing there. So I did touch upon this on my first episode, but getting just a rail pass for riding the trains in Japan is just a great source of convenience. They're called the Ikoka card, the Suica card. Different prefectures have different ones, but basically at any airport, any major train station, you can just ask for where to buy a train card, and they'll show you where to buy it. It's usually the equivalent of $5, 500 yen, and that's a card that you charge money to, so that you don't have to pay an exact fare every time you go someplace. So that saves you money at the ticket machine every time you enter. Get on a train, and then it saves you money calculating your fare. So I think that's a huge source of convenience. And the second thing would be the JRL Pass, and that is only for travelers. However, that is basically a one-time payment that you pay before you come to Japan. You can get it in Japan too. It's more difficult.
It's like $250, I think, right? For a week? Is it a week?
So let's see. They have 7 days, 14 days, and 21 days. The 7-day JRL Pass is $287, and then that is riding unlimited trains through the JR company for a week. 2 weeks is $456.
Crazy.
And 20 days, $583. So you can definitely get your money's worth with these passes if you do plan to travel around Japan.
Yeah, if you're trying to go to like a different prefecture a day in 7 days, you would make all of your money back easily off of that investment.
Absolutely. And like a Shinkansen Shinkansen, the bullet train ticket is usually $75 to $100 based on the day, more expensive on weekends or on holidays. But just honestly, going 2 places there and back to Shinkansen will basically you will already break even with the JRL Pass. And that's so fun because usually when I debate whether riding an overnight bus, which is a mode of transportation I'll talk about after this, or riding a Shinkansen to get to a destination, I really want to ride the Shinkansen, but it's just 2 to 3 times as expensive. But having this rail pass, which I did get one time when I came to Japan, is just like it feels like a cheat code. It's super cool. You can go anywhere in Japan within hours, it seems.
Yeah, can't you get like a preloaded like debit card or something like that for travel as well? To like pay for your cards or your passes.
I'm not familiar with that. That sounds cool though.
I think there's something like that. It's like I'll have to look it up, but I'm pretty sure there's like a debit card that you can get, and you can just preload money onto it. And there's these machines you can just, if you got like a pocket full of like 5-10 yen coins, you can just toss them in there and load it on there. And over the course of a month, you'll have like a free trip if you just really think about it. So
that's wild cool. The rail cards I was talking about at the beginning, you can charge those and use them at convenience stores and vending machines as well.
I think that's the one.
That might be the one too.
It might be the same one.
That's cool.
Yeah, because it's essentially like a debit card, right? In a way.
Yeah, I think that's something I use pretty often.
Because in Japan, they don't really have credit or debit cards, essentially. So your stuff isn't going to be useful. Like it's a cash society. You're going to be carrying around money, cash money more than you are going to be carrying around your card, or at least being able to use it in most places.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, even the past 2 years, they've made a lot of changes with that. I think a lot because of the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. They've made huge changes to the infrastructure and the legalities too of many things to be more accommodating to foreigners. But yeah, many restaurants, especially the ones I like the most, like the really local restaurants, like the older restaurants, the ones that aren't chains, they will definitely most likely not take debit or credit cards. So it's great to have cash as well too. But for trains, it's nice not to have to sort through coins, sort through bills, add up the amount of stations you have to pay for every time you want to travel someplace. So that card is nice. And then the JRL Pass is definitely a recommendation. Again, if you are going to mainly be spending 1 week in like one city, you could definitely weigh the cost on it. You might not, if you're just going to be doing commutes within one city before going to Japan, like staying in Tokyo only, staying in Osaka only, then it might not be the best investment. 280 cents, almost $300 for a week on that. But if you're traveling between cities, it was a fantastic way for me to go. I think Shinkansen, that's just
what's kind of cool too is like you can do night trips on the buses. So if you want to save a few bucks on your trip by not paying for a hotel room one night and you just ride a bus, you can just sleep on your trip to wherever you're going on the bus, and you get to pay cheap, affordable ticket to go on a bus ride. And it might take 6 to 7 hours, but you can snooze on that trip and you can do it at night. 100%. So that's definitely an option.
And that is the second mode of transportation I would like to get into. Let's see, anything else I wanted to cover on trains? I think that basically tops it off. Yeah.
Did you see the first class that they've got for bullet trains now?
Oh, it's amazing.
Dude.
I never no first-hand experience there, but yeah, it looks wild. Cool.
Well, I think like from Tokyo to Osaka, you're gonna spend like $800 for that ticket. And it's really not that long of a ride either.
No, not at all. But you'll be living in luxury without a doubt. You can reclining chairs, full service for food and drinks. I think
free.
TVs?
They got a TV for everyone. They've got like outlets for all of your stuff if you want to plug in your computer. They got Wi-Fi. They got the whole Monty, man. It's
no, you're living in
next level.
Future. You're living in the future for a hot 2 hours there, which is pretty cool. First class JRL Pass though too. It's called the Green Pass. So that I don't know. I've never considered riding first class at this point in my life on the Shinkansen, but if I had the rail pass, so the standard 7-day rail pass usually being $287, you just throw another $100 on that, $383 for 1 week, and you can ride first class on the Shinkansen.
I've actually got a question about trains. So if I was to visit, I wanted to get the JRL pass. Am I allowed to am I allowed to buy two, or can it only be one per person?
So it's one per person, and it's activated the first time you arrive in Japan.
Mm,
gotten off of your passport. So you can get two, but you would have to leave Japan and come back, as far as I know.
gotcha. I'm just thinking maybe I can get you a JRL pass, save you a little bit of money.
Woo! That'd be
You
cool.
know
I
what I
could shoot you
mean?
over.
So I
Shoot you over some cash for that. That's what happened the first time I got a JRL pass, or the only time, I guess. My mom and my younger sister came to visit me, and they got JRL passes, so they brought me one too at the same time that I came back from a trip to Korea, so that I
mm,
could kind of show them around spots of Japan via
that's
Shinkansen. That
nice.
was such a fun trip. Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
I was gonna say
It'll
because
probably
then
happen
if I could get you a JRL pass and it would make it cheaper for travel for you, then we can go
Yeah.
do stuff when I visit.
Ooh, right?
Make it a
Exactly.
lot
You can
cheaper.
have a live stream on the Shinkansen. That'd be pretty cool for one of our future live podcast recordings. I'm about that. Anyway, but we digress. Buses.
Buses.
So yeah. So let's say let's say you want to get from Tokyo to Osaka. I don't know exactly how many miles that is. It's a 5-hour drive. I think it's definitely a couple hundred miles. I think around 300 miles. However, 5-hour, 6-hour drive. The bus ride takes a bit longer. It drives slower. Thankfully, safety is key, and it makes several stops along the way. But I think that's a pro on. And the bus costs about usually $25 to $35. It's much more cheap if you buy it a bit in advance. If you buy it a week in advance, you're going to save some money. Again, it's less expensive on weekdays as opposed to weekends too. There are many options, many companies, and most train stations will sell these bus tickets. One that I have ridden often is called the Willer Express bus from Tokyo to Osaka. It's usually 25, $30, and it is an overnight bus, so you sleep on the bus. I have had a great experience with that. If you don't mind sleeping in a reclining chair, then I think you're pretty set. They often have Wi-Fi. They often have a place for you to charge your phone. You are usually, sitting next to a stranger. If you don't like that, this may not be your thing for an overnight thing. Some of them do have separate sections for males and females too. If you are somebody that doesn't want to be like traveling alone sleeping next to a guy or something like that. And I've had a pretty good experience for $30 on those. Not to mention, oh yeah, I did say it was a pro. I love the stops they take. They usually stop at these really quaint little like bus stop areas in the middle of the wilderness, with a really
Oh,
cool
cool.
view, I think. And yeah, I love
Kind of
those
like
actually.
the cat bus on My Neighbor Totoro.
I,
it's
I
just
feel that.
it's just a bus stop in the middle of nowhere.
I feel it 100%. Yeah. Well, but so it's the bus stop, but then it's also like a whole little almost shopping mall built around that, and it's a very
Ah,
prefectural specific shopping mall. So whatever that
gotcha.
prefecture is famous for, they're gonna market the heck out of that at that shopping mall, which is
So
cool.
they got their mascot for that prefecture there. They
Yeah,
probably got the food that is most popular there, and like all
exactly.
the other things. And you just that way, when you stop, you're like, "Hey, I really wanted to get some stuff from this prefecture, but I'm not staying, so grab it
Exactly.
while you're there." That's cool.
Right?
That's really
That's
cool.
100% it. And I don't know where the people that work there live. I have such a strange attraction to like just driving through the forest for hours and then arriving at like a small little town that has amazing food and like, yeah, I love that kind of experience. And then you just leave back into the wilderness. It's almost surreal. So yeah, night bus is a great affordable.
Peppy
Um,
Wa food on train. Yes, there is food on
oh,
trains.
yeah, you have,
Absolutely.
yeah, the Shinkansen has like a trolley that they sell food and alcohol on the train.
Hmm.
I can only imagine, unfortunately, but first class probably steps that up a hot notch.
Yeah, you
So
don't have to pay for any of that out of pocket because it's covered by your total for
yeah,
your first class ticket. Yeah, most trains will actually have washrooms, toilets, and drinking water, and
yeah,
most of them. And then bullet trains will even have telephones and carts selling food with drinks and such. So
yeah, exactly. And even some inner city trains have Wi-Fi. Keon between Kyoto and Osaka has Wi-Fi. That's a 45-minute train ride.
mhm.
And not a bullet train. It costs like $4 to ride that train from Osaka to Kyoto. It takes 45 minutes. They have a bathroom and they have like Wi-Fi and stuff. They don't sell any food, but food on the trains is kind of steep. So they have like these really great train station little vendors, like little stalls to buy a bento box lunch or something. I would recommend
Mm.
picking up some of that stuff there.
So you can
Uh,
like pretty essentially bring your own snacks while you're on the train,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So you
oftentimes what I do.
save $1. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, with Wi-Fi being on there, I'm sure it's easy for you to like edit your videos and whatnot while you're on the go.
100%. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The seats are nice. They often have a table that folds out. I bring a laptop and a hard drive and get some work done while I'm on the Shinkansen. It feels so cool. I swear, it feels like I'm in the future. I swear that my vision blurs, like things just slant like they do in cartoons when I'm looking outside of the Shinkansen rail. It's unbelievably fast. Yeah.
Do they launch off quick or does it feel very
Oh,
gradual?
like a takeoff. It's pretty gradual, but there's a point where I definitely like feel my body leaning back, like that the
Yeah.
force definitely going back, where I wouldn't want to be like balancing a drink on my hand or anything like that. But it's smooth, you know.
What about whenever they come to a stop? It's
Also
is
very
there like
smooth.
very smooth.
I don't ever remember like any sort of like
We got off the subject of buses and got back on trains. Everyone,
trains are so fun to
look, trains are the coolest. We will talk about that all day. We will always talk about trains.
Riding a bike, yeah, I will get to bikes too. All right, anyway, back to buses. So buses are great for overnight buses, and then of course the bus system for just for like getting around smaller places in the city too. Buses, a network of buses run by the city, do take you to almost every like element or part of a city, even a rural part of the city that you would want to go to. It's 230 yen, so $2.30 to ride any bus for any period of time anywhere, which is very affordable. I think they're usually clean, and just nice. I like the buses there. I don't know if it sounds like I'm blanketly just blindly just shooting positivity at the Japanese like public transportation, but it's been an overwhelming positive experience. And then taxis. So taxis I mainly use when I just want to get someplace fast. If I've missed the train or someplace is close, or I'm with a client or something.
Are
Something like
taxis
that. But
relatively cost effective?
they are compared to the States, definitely. So the base price of getting onto a taxi to go anywhere is about $3, and usually a 20-minute ride I can expect to pay about $10 for a taxi. It's much more
Still
cost
more
effective.
still more affordable than Uber in Columbus, Ohio. That's for sure.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I
Yeah.
do want to touch
Uber's
upon
not
that.
really a thing in too many like Uber's really not a thing other than outside of like Tokyo or Kyoto, right? Like it's
Yeah,
still very new.
yeah. I've never seen Uber used in Japan. It is more
Mhm.
expensive, first of all. Here, there are some issues with.
I think that's because they only do like the luxury Uber
Yeah,
in Japan. So they don't really have like the lower, you know how like in Japan or
yeah,
in Uber, there's like the different tiers of like cars you can have come pick you up. I
yeah.
think
That's
in
exactly
Japan they
it.
only have like the black version, which is like the black car that has tinted
Very few.
windows kind of deal.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah,
like
that's it.
luxury.
And a couple other reasons why Uber hasn't really taken off here. One is the taxi profession is just so uniform, so well trusted, a bit pretty
Mhm.
affordable, and it just goes so far back. Everyone knows exactly what to expect when they get into a taxi, like the same sort of atmosphere, conversation, service. And I think people are a bit more hesitant to jump onto a stranger's car in
Mhm.
Japan than they maybe would be in America or
Naturally,
something.
I'm surprised how quickly it progressed in America because
Yeah,
you were told growing up not to get into a stranger's car, and you're paying a stranger to pick you up.
yeah, true that.
That's working for themselves. You know, you don't.
Right?
That could be their first. The person who picked you up, you could literally be their first pickup they've ever done since they signed up on Uber. They're
Yeah,
not trained
thought
by
about that.
anybody. They just went and picked you up. It's kind of sketch.
Yeah.
I agree.
If you think about it that way. Yeah, no, that's true. But the biggest reason I think that Uber is not as popular in Japan is just the wealth dynamic. It's more expensive to have your driver's license in Japan, and it's more rare to own a car. Stereotypically, the people that own a personal vehicle in Japan, paying for a place to park, paying for the taxes, and paying for the license itself, which is usually about $2,000 to take your driver's license test.
Yeah.
That's usually somebody that is not in a position where they need a side hustle. Usually if you invest all that money into having a car and a place to park for your own personal use, usually it's because you have a steady job already that you can see yourself making these payments on time. So it does kind of eliminate then I mean, it's not very necessary to have a car in Japan because of all the public transportation I've been talking about.
Options. Yeah.
Yeah, and so it does eliminate that section of society that really you in America. I feel you often need a personal car for work, for sometimes a lack of public transportation, and it is more affordable, I think, sometimes in America. So I drove Uber myself in America when I was in
The
Japan.
tolls are pretty expensive when you're driving on highways and stuff in Japan
Oh
too.
yeah,
It can get
yeah,
pretty pricey.
yeah, absolutely.
Gas is
Getting on
expensive, tolls are pretty high.
yeah,
It does add up pretty quick. And not
100%.
to mention, for you to own a car in Japan, you, you have to have a space to park your car where you live.
Mm-hmm.
Before you can buy a car, they'll literally send out a police or like a couple police officers to your house. It could take a couple days, could take a week. They never tell you when they send them out. But you go to a car dealer, say, "I want to buy this car." And they're like, "All right, we'll send someone out to your house to measure your parking space." And they do. They send a police officer to your house. They measure out the space and say, "Hey, his parking space will fit that car. If it doesn't, then they won't let you buy the car." Like, it's crazy.
Wow,
Like, there's so many there's so many
right here,
steps to get
definitely.
a vehicle and be a car owner in Japan. You can definitely rent a car though. If you really need to get around, you want to rent a
I've had
car, that's probably
friends,
going to be the most affordable way.
right? Absolutely. And yeah, getting an international driver's license. So now moving from taxis to your personal car. I
Hmm.
did make a TikTok on this, I think yesterday. It's very easy. It's dangerously easy, I think. So it's $20 at any AAA. It's free if you're a member. They snap a photo of you, and then you have a piece of paper that you can show to anyone in Japan saying that you can drive there. It's temporary. I think it lasts 3 months.
But
But
that's still not
that's very much.
expensive if you really need to like renew that. And it seems pretty simple
Yeah,
too.
yeah, no joke. And I've rented cars here to drive every once in a while. To be quite frank, driving in Japan does terrify me. It's just all on the opposite side of the road from what I grew up learning,
Yeah.
and roads in the city are a bit more narrow. Granted, the cars are often a bit more small here, but I it's not my go-to mode of transportation. Even if I like really wanted to impress a date, I feel like I wouldn't be that impressive, like gripping the wheel and being like nervous, not
And
wanting to talk.
sweating,
It's
sweating in fear.
yeah, I'm not about to have like a cool conversation while I'm driving in Japan.
You'll be so
So
focused on the street lights
yeah,
and signs that you wouldn't even be paying
right.
attention to your date.
No joke. And that's very specific to me. My friends here drive. A lot of my friends here drive. You know, once you're used to it, it's just the same as driving anywhere else. But one day
Yeah,
I'll get used to it, maybe.
car rentals aren't too pricey either. It's about
Yeah,
10,500 yen roughly. So
yeah.
about about 10. What is that, like $100, $105
Uh-huh.
to
Yeah,
rent them for 24 hours, and that's unlimited miles on it as well. So
yeah.
yeah,
I've seen even more in the countryside. I've seen ones for $50 for a day, but then plus insurance, it always
there you
comes out to
go.
about 80. So yeah, and
Yeah,
I'm sure insurance is mandatory, but if not, it
I
should
was
be.
just going to ask that.
Please getting yeah.
Yeah.
I remember it being an option the last time I
Hmm.
rented a car, but I can't imagine because if you have an accident and you don't have insurance, you are in trouble.
I
I'm
feel like
sure
if you
it's
make
necessary.
I feel like if you rent any vehicle, always get insurance because you
Yeah,
never know. My
yeah,
girlfriend and I rented a U-Haul truck to move back from Salt Lake City, Utah, and that's a 26-hour drive from
goodness.
across the country, right?
Road
And
trip. Heck yeah.
she probably will be mad that I'm telling the story, but of the 26 hours of driving, she only drove for about 30, 40 minutes. And in that 30, 40 minutes, she hit the only deer that we saw in Kansas.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. What?
Yeah. So thank
Nightmare.
goodness we had insurance because it covered it. And
Mm,
all you had to do was get the police to file a report that that it happened, and then
gotcha.
insurance was covered. But if I didn't pay that
Yeah.
extra like $1,000 for cross country,
Mm,
insurance policy on that, I would have been paying
be
for thousands and
yeah.
thousands of dollars of damage on that car.
A
So
nightmare on top of a nightmare. That's wild. Glad you guys are okay, or hope you all were okay.
I think the deer
Luckily.
didn't do too good though.
Nope, I suppose not. Yikes. Yikes and a half. Oh boy.
Do you want to
Yeah,
move on to
so
bike? Did you want to move on to bikes then?
exactly. Yeah. So again, trains, buses, taxis, rent-a-cars, and bicycles. Bicycles are actually my favorite way personally of getting around Japan. I had a bicycle here as a student. Any place you can ride a bus in the city, you can essentially take a bike to. Streets here are very bike friendly. I see bicycles almost everywhere. If you watch any of my videos where I'm filming haphazardly on the street, I'm sure you'll see bicycles going to and forth. There are bike lanes on most major streets too, and I just love it. I love the scenery. I love how a small investment at the beginning, purchasing or renting a bike too, which many people can do. You can rent a bike for a month, for about $100 usually, which is pretty cool. I think it's a great way to get around, and I think the added value of it that I personally love is just getting to feel a feel for the city you're in too. You can take a stop anywhere you want to check out a new store. You can take it easy. You can take a more scenic route, and you can get like a mental map of your new area in Japan, which I very much enjoy personally. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like the idea that you can get the more scenic route.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you can go down alleys and stuff that aren't meant for vehicles and whatnot, and take some backcountry roads.
Right.
You just got to remember, if you're in the city, get a street bike. If you live in the countryside, mountain bike. You just got to know what kind of bike you're looking for the terrain that you're going to be riding in, so you don't get fatigued too easily or work too hard to do it. I know that not many people think about that when they buy a bike. They just know, everyone's telling me that's a great bike, but is it a good bike for where you're living?
I never thought about it. Good.
Are there rental bikes? Are there rental bikes, by the way? Okay.
Yeah.
So
you can.
Oh no, go ahead.
Oh yeah, you can rent a bike for a day, for a week, for a month. I just remember one place by my area in Kyoto. I bought my bike. It was a pretty cheap bike. It was like $180. But there was a rental bike, $100. You can rent a bike for a month. Obviously, this is not going to be a new state-of-the-art bike, but it'll be a bike that can take you on a sidewalk, and point A to point B. And I loved my bike. It had like a nice little basket in the beginning. It had a bell. I was like a kid at Christmas. Thing on the back. I could ride and day back. Could tandem, and I learned now that is illegal. But I saw it a lot in manga, so I thought I'd give it a shot. And that's just the standard bike that.
Would you really get in trouble too much for it though? Like, do you think that a police officer would see that and say something about it? That's what I thought. Like,
I sincerely doubt it. Yeah, I see it
that's such a petty
every
reason
day
to get in trouble.
Right? It's called futari nori. So it's technically illegal to do that. It's even illegal to listen to music or have headphones in while you're riding a bike. But I can't imagine. These are just things that we were told at orientation. I can't imagine you getting in trouble for this or anything significant happening.
I think I can understand the headphones though, because you have to pay attention to your surroundings with all of your senses.
Absolutely.
A comment we got was by Lynn is, don't some people get around on mopeds?
Mopeds are so cool. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
A good amount of my friends have mopeds. So shifting from bikes to mopeds, motor scooters, you don't actually need any sort of license to drive a moped. I think that's under 500cc in Japan. I don't know how.
500cc? That's a lot. Are you sure it's 500?
Yeah. I'm not sure. 300. Mm-hmm. Wait.
Okay. I would say most mopeds are between 50 and 100cc. Maybe Vespas, scooters, stuff like that. You're probably going to be looking around the 100, 150cc. So I can understand like maybe 150.
They're even 300 up there, though.
Yeah, are they? Their mopeds got some push.
Not many of them, but some of them do, and those ones you don't need a license to either. Anyway, I gotta find the facts on this too. So even if you are not a Japanese citizen, you can get a moped without any license. I don't know how safe that is, how good of an idea it is, but it's cool. And you can. My friend just got a moped, a used one for like $300, and with some fixing up, he scoots around town, and he makes money delivering for Uber Eats on it.
Oh, that's cool.
Let's see. You're right. It's 150cc, I think.
Gotcha. Yeah. I'm sure you don't need plates or anything too, do you?
I don't know about that actually.
I know in the state of Ohio, you don't need insurance on a moped, and I don't think you need a motorcycle license either. They just
That's the only
I think
thing.
you just have to have plates, which,
Oh, I
to
see.
be honest, I've ridden my friend's moped that had plates that were a year expired and passed dozens of cops on our way
Oh
to a
yeah,
bar, and they never cared. they just
that's so
they
interesting.
just don't care.
Wow, you do need to store it here. I see now. Uh-huh.
Okay.
But yeah, so I've never rented a moped. You can rent them too. I've borrowed a friend's moped to get around, to do some stuff, just like errands. But I've never heard of anyone traveling and then renting a moped either. But that would be a pretty cool way to get around. I think I don't, because you can drive those just on the street, like in traffic. It's a pretty bold move, I think, but it sounds cool. That's all I can say on that.
I saw one of your TikToks. You have a friend that helps you get around on her motorcycle, and that's
Yeah,
just like part of a
100%.
all girls like biker gang or something like that, or not gang,
Yeah,
but a biker group. You know what I
uh-huh.
meant?
Yeah,
But
exactly. Super cool.
kind of like a club or
Mhm.
whatever. But which is really cool.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
is that a common thing in most cities in Japan? Is like people who are really passionate
Mhm.
about biker groups and stuff like that,
I'd say
clubs.
so. I don't know about common. For I think it is. It's fairly uncommon with university students I've met, but it's common in big cities. Yeah, I have a good amount of friends actually that ride motorcycles and are very passionate about doing their self services for the motorcycles and things like that. And it's a very vibrant community. It's really
Hmm.
cool. They're really cool people to get in touch with. I linked with them just basically through random events. I linked with them being in the same school clubs or friends of friends, and then we just got kind of close to there. But they're a very cool group to be around with. And
Nice.
yeah, if you do ride motorcycles, I think, dang, riding around Japan on a motorcycle is so fun. I've only done it on the back of one, but it's wild cool. And that's a bike and a half. That one is 500 cc, and it goes
Yeah,
fast.
that's a bike, dude,
Yeah,
for
the first
sure.
time I was on the back of that bike, I was holding on for dear life. I was
Yeah.
yeah, I got used to it though, and it's really fun.
Someone
So
just
yeah,
asked
safety
about the
first thing.
car culture in Japan. Oh yeah, Japan has a car
Yeah,
culture for sure.
yeah, absolutely.
A
JDM
lot of
cars,
modified
JRL.
vehicles.
Oh, absolutely. Uh-huh. And there's a pretty vibrant low riding car culture scene too in Osaka. Definitely in Okinawa too. I've seen a good amount of that. I've seen JDM car meets around Mina, Osaka. Some smaller ones too in the center of Osaka around Namba and Shinsaibashi. Very cool places. I do want to look more into that. I have some friends that are in that scene. I might want to try to. They don't speak
I'm
English, but I'll. Mhm.
I'm personally part of 3 different Subaru clubs for
Ooh, heck yeah, man.
Central Ohio. Subaru is
Dang.
one of them, probably my primary go-to. And it's
That's
nice to be
fun.
part of clubs like that, especially on like a social media group, because you'll know when people meet up. You can get to go ride with people who are passionate about the same type of vehicles as you.
Yeah.
You can, if you don't want to buy a brand new part, you just want to buy a used one for something you need to work on your vehicle. Someone's
Mhm.
always parting a vehicle out, so you could say, "Hey, I have this year's Subaru Impreza, or this year's Subaru WRX, or this year's Subaru STI, and I need, a cat converter." Someone's going to message you and say, "I got this for this price." And it's really cool, and I'm sure that that's a lot how the culture is out there too. Because people
That
are
is awesome.
modifying vehicles in Japan all the
Yeah.
time,
Uh-huh.
and I'm sure they have
So much.
large groups online now that you can just reach out to, and someone's going to say, "Yeah, I got that." So,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It seems like a very tight-knit community. My neighbor owns like a small car garage, auto mechanics garage, and I see that's how I met some of these friends too, just kind of hanging out there, talking with him, and it seems a lot like that. There's a lot of, to be quite honest, my like auto mechanic Japanese is very lacking. I don't know a lot of the things that they're talking about, and I'd like to make some more media about that scene too, if I get everyone's consent in the group to take some videos or some photos on that circle.
yeah, I know in Japan there's a huge drift culture too, and it's not just because of Tokyo Drift; it's always been there. Um,
Oh, 100%.
and
Yeah.
there are
Around
still
the
massive drift meets in the summertime, and that's one of the things I will like die for to go see is like go to a drift event in Japan, anywhere that
oh
it's
yeah.
hosted. I want to go see it.
We're gonna check that out for sure. Anyway,
But
do you want to jump on the last topic? Where to stay? Or sorry, continue.
oh no, I'm good.
Get an eye on the time. It's so fun to talk about these kind of car things, but I gotta check myself. I can talk about this.
Yeah, yeah, we've gone over an hour, so we definitely went over our time limit for the day already. So
Yeah, it's all good. Well,
What else did you want to discuss today?
I just wanted to finish this off by talking about my favorite way to find places to stay that are affordable in Japan. And
Good.
I'll talk about how I have found places to stay for traveling here for short amounts of time, as well as where I find places to stay for longer periods of time. And I'm going to start off by basically saying I think staying at hotels here is probably the most expensive, especially hotels that one can find through a travel agency. I know many travel agencies have discounts and points, so if that helps you out, then more power to you. However, many of these agencies do focus on hotels that have a fairly strong English speaking staff, or that cater to foreigners, which is fantastic and a great amenity. And but they do kind of shirk on many of the hotels, the smaller hotels that are catered more towards like domestic Japanese travelers. And if
Mm-hmm.
you do search for hotels, honestly, even with Google Maps, I know I'm shouting them out twice in the same thing. I swear they don't pay me. Like around the area you want to be staying, just look out hotels or places to stay there. I found hotels that are a fraction of the price there. If you don't mind using Google Translate or a translation app, or trying your hand at speaking Japanese at the counter. That's where I have recommended my friends and family to do if they want to stay at a hotel here when
Mm-hmm.
I'm in Japan. Now, for even more variety of places to stay or staying cheaper during a shorter trip, I would recommend Airbnb definitely for a more unique experience, and also oftentimes saving money. These
Mm-hmm.
places can be like, I've stayed at Airbnbs that are just full apartments that somebody doesn't like need at the moment. Oftentimes, businessmen, prominent businessmen will have an apartment in Tokyo or something like that. If they go there often for work, they'll rent them out for a fairly affordable price compared to a hotel. And then you have a kitchen to cook into as well, and it's very unique experiences also. Sometimes Airbnb will have sharing an apartment or a room of a house with a Japanese family or something. And I've had friends that have used Airbnb in Japan that have said that the families are often people that are very interested in foreign culture and are very excited to meet the travelers. And that includes everything like cooking food, sharing a dinner with them, and things like that. So if that's something that you think you could enjoy, oftentimes that will be within the description of the Airbnb if it has it in English. And those are two cool options for short stay. And I'm going to rush into my final one, which would be a guest house. Guest houses are usually older traditional Japanese houses that are converted into a place to stay. For travelers, they're often like tatami mats and then a mattress where you could sleep on the ground. Or for the cheapest options, they have the bigger Japanese rooms, traditional Japanese rooms that is with the paper walls, sometimes bordering like a traditional Japanese garden, which is very nice. And you can share the larger rooms, usually with multiple people in bunk beds or multiple people staying on the floor. And if you don't mind this, then those can often be like $20 a night, which is a very affordable way to travel. That's it.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's definitely capsule hotels too, if you don't mind
Oh, right.
cramming yourself into a
Love
capsule hotel.
Mhm.
Those are very common and popular too. And if
Yeah.
you want more of a traditional American sized hotel room while you're in the city and you only need to stay there for like a few hours, it may sound weird, but there's also the love hotels as well. You don't have
Oh,
to
yeah.
go there with anyone. They are all themed rooms, but you have your
Mhm.
privacy. No one will
Yeah.
bother you. You'll get to go to the
True
room.
that.
You can nap for a few hours, and it's very affordable. It's about the same
Exactly.
size as like a business hotel, but way cheaper. So
Oh, 100%. And you can enjoy a light up bath with jets and sometimes yeah,
yeah.
sometimes scented candles. To each their own. That's honestly that's a fantastic place to stay too. There
Have you
are
been able to stay at a love hotel yet?
yeah, I do. I have thought just for the exact same reason you're talking about, where and they're
Mm-hmm.
affordable and they sing themes. I went to a dinosaur themed one, not lying at all. And then kind of a more
Nothing
cuter,
speaks
kind
to
of
love like
like
dinosaurs.
I was shocked, I was surprised, but it was cool. That was the one that there's a Hello Kitty themed one. There are ones that are themed like European style places to stay.
Mm,
We could do a whole podcast on this actually too. And Yeah, capsule hotels too. I also love. They're usually a bit more pricey than a love hotel, but they're if you're not claustrophobic, they're a very comfortable, nice place to stay. And they usually have a
Yeah.
cool shared area too, where you can cook food or something like that. And the capsule hotel is also where I saw the pizza and fried chicken vending machine, which was interesting. You order that and some sort of it microwaves something for you and shoots it out. So it's kind of a cool futuristic feeling experience. A capsule hotel for pretty affordable.
So before we wrap things up today,
Mm.
a couple of things I want to say is if anyone is interested in, anime movie nights, learning some more Japanese and ways to learn Japanese language, learning, and just want to meet a huge community that is probably just as passionate about the same thing as you, Japanese culture in general, and you want to know more information about travel, definitely hit us up on our Discord. Wes's Discord server has just recently been partnered with Discord. You can literally just look him up on Google, and you don't need an invite to join anymore, which is really cool.
Yeah, there you
And
go.
I definitely suggest checking out the Discord channel for sure, or the Discord server for sure. Good things are going there, so it's going to be fun.
Yeah, please, you all are welcome. I'm so overjoyed with how organically such an amazing community kind of formed, and I love like talking to people there. I learn a lot actually from a lot of people too that know so many things about travel and living here that I never knew. It's an amazing experience for me, and I really love being able to share all the things that I've learned through experience with people as well too. I make some Discord exclusive media, mainly about like Japanese slang words and things like that. And it's a great way for to be able to answer questions too that I can't often get to on YouTube or TikTok. So yeah, check it out. I'm a fan
You do
now.
try to, and he also likes to jump in voice channel once in a while and just
Yes.
answer questions. So
Yeah,
you'll get a
I'm a fan.
group of people in there just asking some Q&As. So
Mhm.
definitely fun stuff. Absolutely.
Yeah, I hope the
So
crew's
that's
over
all I
there.
wanted to say. Really is other than we do plan on doing our podcast every other week as of currently as a live stream. I think this is what
Yes.
we agreed on, and
Yeah.
so not next week, but the week after, we'll do a live stream. There's a possibility. Actually, there's a possibility we might do a live stream next week because we might have a guest.
Oh, correct.
So, with that being said, if we have that guest next week and we can make the schedule work, we actually might have technically 3 live streams in a row, possibly.
Yeah.
But we
Correct.
do plan on doing every other one, just audio, and then we'll upload it to all of the platforms, and then we'll do one live here on YouTube, and possibly in the future we'll have other locations we'll be streaming to as well, like Twitch and maybe a Facebook community. So
Yeah. A lot of things in the works. Points for shouting that out, Brad. Appreciate it.
yeah, man, absolutely. But that's all I have to say. I just wanted to just bring that up.
Good looking out. That basically, that covers it. I have a couple more things I'd like to shove in the end. And now that I'm getting to this time in the podcast, I'm realizing there's a lot more to cover here with the places to stay. And like you can couch surf here through couchsurfing.com for free. It's relatively safe from what I've heard. But again, there's so much to cover there. And then you can get a homestay family here too through homestay.com. And that's where you kind of just like live with this family. They might need extra income, but they're also somebody that definitely would probably also have interest in meeting foreign travelers. And then, of course, living here, renting an apartment or a shared house, or even buying a house here are all options I've looked into a lot. I rent apartments primarily through realestate.jp. It's a great website that has full English support. Teams, as well as actually Craigslist Osaka has never done me wrong here. Definitely properly vet any sort of landlord you would be linking with or property with Craigslist. But when I go to a place for a month or so, Craigslist has always been pretty solid. I had a job in Tokyo that lasted a month. I just went on Craigslist. I think I paid about $400 for an apartment for a full month there, and it was a great experience. Very like stress-free, you get a full kitchen, everything like that, and it's just an experience of being a resident in Tokyo, which is very cool.
Did you want to, before we wrap things up, just look at some of the comments we might have missed a little bit?
Yeah, let's do that. Absolutely. Pepiwa, I always appreciate you jumping on the lives, by the way, people. And I'd love to join. Just would like to have people to practice talking or writing in Japanese. I feel my skills have gone down since leaving Japan. I know that feeling, trust me.
Mhm.
And yeah, on the Discord, we have a channel for practicing Japanese typing, and we actually have a voice practice Japanese channel too. I'd love to jump on there and
we probably have a dozen or so people who are very passionate about practicing Japanese on a daily basis, and we'll be more than happy to answer any questions anyone has. Within the same hour, usually you get a response by somebody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brett Williams Films, he's always on our server as well. Yeah. And he's very knowledgeable about really anything that you have to ask. He's
no
great.
Joke. A real boss and a half. Yeah. This has been an amazing stream. Thank you so much, Wes and Brandon. Woo, Josh, appreciate you. Love the positivity. And Lynn, if I may ask, who's the third person who might join the podcast? Well, great timing. Are we supposed to say?
Yeah, we can disclose that.
Yeah, we just talked about them. That would be Brett William Films from our Discord
Brett
server.
William.
He has a very structured system for learning Japanese, and he learned Japanese, and he speaks very well. I get a lot of questions about learning Japanese, which sometimes I'm hesitant to answer just because I know just teachers and people that study education study so in depth how to properly learn a new language and skills, and I would never want to spread misinformation. So talking about that with Brett is something that I think can be a great way to give a very informed, big picture way of learning the language, regardless of where you're jumping in as a beginner, starting from scratch, or if you want to brush up on elements of grammar or speaking or reading.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
He has a very structured method on learning Japanese, and from what he's been helping me through in just the short time that I've been able to discuss his structure, it seems like it works way better than any other way that I've been trying to self-teach myself Japanese for sure. So yeah, we want to bring him on. We want to let him just kind of explain his structure of Japanese language learning, or even just language learning in general, and just kind of pick at his brain. So it'll be fun. I'm looking forward to next week with Brett.
Yeah, 100%. And then hello there, Raw Elements. Thanks for joining. Instagram is Wes Mathur, and I'm from Los Angeles. Thanks for asking, Evan. And yeah, I think we covered a good amount of it. It's been an hour, 22 minutes. Thank you all for joining us. And
sorry if we couldn't get to any of your questions, but like I said, hit us up on Discord. Maybe we can be able to answer them then. So
100%. And next time I do this, I've learned now I'm going to try to pace it out more, so at the end we'll have more time to go through and read comments and get back to them. But anyway, thank you all so much for joining us for the Travel Japan with Wes Mathur Podcast, Season 1, Episode 7. We're chugging along here. First episode recorded in 2021. Very best years to everybody here, and I think that covers that.
That does.